So good morning and welcome to the 2017 combined meeting of the International Initiative of Mental Health Leadership and the International Initiative for Disability Leadership. I know, unfortunately, many were with us last night for our reception, and I think it was a wily thing for Sydney to turn on the weather, so we trapped so many of you in the building. But it was a very warm evening, so thank you for those who could be here. But look, I know that some people have travelled a long way across Australia and New Zealand from more than 40 leadership matches, and I hope you're well rested for today and for the events today and tomorrow. Many of you have also travelled for much longer distances from continents overseas, and I really want to thank you for making the time to be here and for making that big effort to get here. To those of you joining us from Sydney and New South Wales, believe it or not, we're also very delighted to have our own kin in the room, so thank you for quarantining the time in your busy diaries. It's sometimes much harder to do these things when you're a local because people still have an expectation you'll continue to do your normal work. As we embark upon the 2 days of fellowship and conversation, I want to first start by asking Uncle Chicka Madden to welcome us to country. Uncle Chicka.
Good, thank you. Good morning, folks. My name is Charles Madden, but known around the inner city of Sydney as Chicka. Now, that's a nickname that I got many years ago, going to Redfern Public School, which is now NCIE, the National Centre for Indigenous Excellence. Folks, I'm from Gadigal land, Aboriginal land. That's the land we're on at the moment. For many years, I've lived and worked around the city of Sydney. I've been involved with many different Aboriginal organisations over the years. I've been a director with the Aboriginal Medical Service at Redfern for over 40 years. Also a director with the Redfern Aboriginal Housing Company, Aboriginal Hostels Australia, and the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, where I am still a very active member. I've got to mention it, folks. Also, a life member of the Redfern All Blacks Rugby League Football Club. Folks, for many years, I've lived and worked around the city of Sydney. I'd like to take this opportunity this morning to extend a warm and sincere welcome to any of my Aboriginal brothers and sisters, non-Aboriginal brothers and sisters who may have travelled here onto Gadigal land. If we have any brothers and sisters from the Torres Strait or further afar across the seas, welcome. Welcome to Gadigal land. The Gadigal clan is one of 29 that makes up the Eora Nation. The Eora Nation is bordered by 3 distinctive landmarks. We have the Hawkesbury River to the north, Nepean to the west, and the Georges River to the south. Those 3 rivers form the boundaries of the Eora Nation. Folks, if you've travelled across this great city of ours today, state, or this great country, or from afar, welcome. Welcome to Gadigal land. Enjoy your stay. Have a safe and trouble-free trip home. Once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Chicka. It's always a very warm welcome to country. Thank you again. Could I also acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and also to acknowledge the Indigenous elders who are here today from other countries. And in light of our purpose, the Commission's purpose and our purpose in this room, I'd also like to acknowledge those of us here today who have a lived experience of mental illness and those who offer hope and support. We're committed to the full recognition of the rights of people whose lives are affected by mental illness and guiding New South Wales and hopefully Australia away from the history of stigma and discrimination. Can I say we make this acknowledgement at the beginning of all Commission meetings. It keeps us focused and on why we're here, and that is to work hard and fast as we can to make a real difference in the lives of people and of our communities. Everyone is better off when we value good mental health and wellbeing, and when we honour in our policies and practices those concepts that are important and central to all of us. And that's connection with our environment, with family, and the people around us. Can I say these values are also fundamental to our New South Wales State Plan, Living Well, and we were charged as a commission with developing that vision for the mental health system in this state that would truly put people at the centre with a core focus on recovery, community, inclusion and choice, and the emphasis on wellbeing that acknowledges people's strengths and capacity. It's fundamental too to the missions of the IIMHL and IIDL, which promote ideas of sharing, innovation and problem solving across nations through connections between leaders so that we can together accelerate the progress towards systems and communities that cope better with the challenges that we face. Many of us here today are working directly in mental health or in related areas. And as the theory goes, 10,000 hours of dedicated practice in a given field allows a person to truly become an expert. And if that is the case, and I believe it is, then we have a room full of experts here today, irrespective of the field from which you come. Experience is a wonderful thing, but the challenge for us is not to automatically believe that our own rhetoric, just because we have been successful in our chosen field or in our careers, we still need to remain open to changing our thinking and to creating space for the new ideas of people from other jurisdictions and, of course, from other generations. Last year, the Commission joined forces with the National Mental Health Commission, with assistance from the Canadian Mental Health Commission, to provide specialised training to a group of 30 emerging leaders in mental health. The SPARK training, as it is known, which stands for Supporting the Promotion of Activated Research and Knowledge, teaches emerging leaders how to move innovative ideas in mental health and wellbeing rapidly into practice. And it was developed and delivered by the Mental Health Commission of Canada, so it has truly been a global exercise, and I'm indebted to Commissioner Louise Bradley from the Canadian Mental Health Commission and her team for the remarkable work they did with this group of 30 emerging leaders. Almost all the graduates, thanks to the generous support of their employers or their sponsors, are with us at this week's Leadership Exchange. They're wearing a badge, which I'm meant to have with me, which says, "I am a Sparky." So please seek them out and strike up a conversation. They are the next generation of leaders, and we need their ideas and their energy and their commitment and that broader sense of the mental health community and what's possible beyond their own roles they've started off with in mental health. So we all come to this meeting with our own stories, and I ask you, as we talk about the big picture ideas and issues, to be mindful of the human scale. Our failing in mental health sometimes, failings are sometimes not about the services and programs themselves necessarily, but about how we respond when an individual situation does not conform to the categories we have assigned or the pathways we have envisaged. We sometimes aren't sufficiently flexible. Only last week I was talking to some parents of a teenage girl with autism spectrum disorder who also experiences very, very severe depression and has had a number of suicide attempts. The private psychological support which her family conscientiously sought out and have had for the past 4 years just did not line up or link up with those provided through either the education system or the acute public mental health system. And this family, frankly, has been left floundering. You know, essentially an appearance of riches, an appearance of many resources, but none of them talking to each other. And as a consequence, a young woman living in a well-off family in the heart of Sydney who has a high probability of not making it to her 21st birthday simply because all of those services haven't found a way of talking to each other. Our conference theme is Contributing Lives and Thriving Communities. The point is that we cannot really have one without the other. If we do not respect individuals and support them according to their potential, our whole society misses out. This is a challenge to all of us as we think about implementation and knowledge exchange, the foundation of this meeting. We have a responsibility to consider deeply how our decisions play out in the reality of people's lives so that our communities ultimately can thrive. This event is not a place to hide behind the abstractions and complexities of the systems that we work in. Australia's mental health system has its own peculiarities, not least of which is federation, and difficult legacies, but so do all of the countries who are with us today. This meeting is about, above everything else, our daily domestic experiences, to rise above those, to find something inspiring, something that we can take home that will really make a difference. And that's not necessarily just a great idea. As I said last night, it's about those relationships that you form here and the power that will give you in the future to more authoritatively advocate for or to have a broader set of thinking around the issues that are challenging you. So again, I would urge you, make sure you have your blendology and make sure you're connecting as often as you possibly can, because you'll ultimately get a record of everybody you've met who's linked into your blendology device. So we can learn so much from the unique experience of others, and to that end the Commission has developed an arts program to accompany this year's combined meeting, and I hope it will animate and humanise the topics that we discuss. There is information on the installations and performances and the materials that you've received when you're registered, and I would urge you to take the time to read about the background to these works and the artists, most of whom you'll have the opportunity to meet during our breaks. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Eddie Bartnick from the National Disability Insurance Agency. Many of you know that Eddie is a special advisor to the National Disability Insurance Agency, which is presenting the IIDL stream, and he's been a great partner to the Mental Health Commissions of Australia, and of course himself as a former Mental Health Commissioner from Western Australia. I welcome Eddie to the stage.
Good morning, everybody, and John, thank you very much for your kind words and also your leadership and partnership to help make this wonderful event happen. Uncle Chika, thank you very much. I just want to acknowledge the warm welcome to country and also pay my respect to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and to pay respect to elders past and present. Also want to acknowledge people with lived experience of disability and mental health, and everybody here today we're all putting our minds to how to best support people to get the best life they can in their community. So you're all very, very welcome. So on behalf of the National Disability Insurance Agency and also the local organising committee for the International Initiative for Disability Leadership, I want to welcome you all here today, and in the few minutes that I've got, I've just been asked to talk a little bit about IIDL and the program, but also Professor Karma has asked that I just give you a little bit of an overview of the National Disability Insurance Scheme, so it sets a little bit of context for Professor Karma's presentation as well. So the National Disability Insurance Agency is the Australian signatory to IIDL, so I'm delighted that we've signed up and now a member country, and we're also the agency that implements the National Disability Insurance Scheme. The IIDL has a sponsoring countries leadership group, New Zealand, Republic of Ireland, Canada and Australia, and we have the USA and UK as participating countries. We're growing from strength to strength. I'm really excited. We've got 120 people registered for this event. I think we had about 80 in Vancouver, so we are growing in momentum, which is fabulous. And we've got a very strong local organising committee, National Disability Services, the Australian Federation of Disability Organisations, First Peoples Disability Network and Carers Australia. And this idea about leadership networks coming together to build the event's been incredibly important for us. Our program looks a bit different to yours. We've got like 22 speakers and 11 marketplace stalls. So our sort of focus is on collective leadership and leadership networks. We've also got a State of the Nations, which is country reports, and also a marketplace, which is a bit of a brag and steal with 12 different stalls from different countries. That'll be a lot of fun. Now, as John did say, we share the vision for the conference theme, contributing lives and thriving communities. There's a lot of overlap, populations we collectively support. And I just want to say for the mental health stream, a couple of sessions that you might be particularly interested in. The session on creating the National Disability Insurance Scheme, the collective leadership that took the crisis, the problem, into a sustainable solution. I think that's an amazing story. And also we've got a session on self-directed support in mental health and psychosocial disability, which I think is also going to be of particular interest. And for disability delegates, Helen Milroy's session on trauma and recovery, and also the sessions on technology, I think, apply equally to everybody. So just a bit about the NDIS. It's the biggest social reform in Australia since Medicare. At full scheme, it will support 460,000 Australians with a disability and their families and carers, with a budget of about $22 billion. All our international feedback is that the scheme is a unique example worldwide of a disability system built on a full population and actuarial estimates, a sustainability concept based on social and economic participation, choice and control enshrined in legislation. So these are quite amazing things. And over a 10-year period, we've gone from the crisis in disability services across the country to a new idea, thinking about this as being a shared issue for the community, an insurance idea as opposed to a welfare rationing idea. We had an amazing community campaign across the country, Every Australian Counts, and the Disability and Carer Coalition. We had a Productivity Commission that did actuarial modelling and did the economics of social and economic participation and contribution by people with disabilities and their families and carers. And then we had governments that lined up to design the scheme, come up with legislation, trial the scheme, and now we're rolling it out across the country. So in a 10-year period, I think this is a pretty amazing story. Now, some of the key ideas, just very quickly, it's around insurance. It's about everybody, not about welfare and rationing. It's about choice and control. So all the money from all the programs comes in to a pool and goes out attached to each individual, who can choose the type of support, the provider, and how their funds are managed. And it's also about the whole of community and mainstream, particularly through the National Disability Strategy. How things are changing. We used to have lots of programs, different criteria everywhere. There's one national access criteria for disability support across the whole country, which will be the same. Choice and control. We used to have pockets where people had it, others where there was nothing. Everybody is entitled, as part of the legislation, to reasonable and necessary support in their individual plan. The level of assistance, I think you all know the story where you meet the criteria but on a wait list. Within the scheme, you meet the access criteria, you are entitled to support, which I think is an extraordinary thing. So it's not capped, it is driven by the demand of the number of people. And all the funding for all the programs are all pooled, they come in and then are given back out through people's individual plans. So in trial, we supported 36,000 people, and the trial was on time, on budget, and with good support from people using the scheme. We've got about 60,000 people in now, but we've got a long way to go to get to 460,000 in the next 3 years. And for this audience in particular, a bit I'm so excited about is 64,000 people with a long-term disability related to their mental health condition will come into the scheme, and for the first time ever have choice and control over their psychosocial disability supports. In the context of Professor Carmen's presentation, the agency demonstrates its commitment to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and their families and communities through our Reconciliation Action Plan and the development of a collaborative planning and working model based on developing trust and co-design. So data and learning from our trials is used to monitor and keep the scheme on track. Now, I think quite simply the equation is the scheme for Aboriginal people and their families and communities will mean a lot more people will get support for the first time. People who get support will get a more holistic package of support, and they'll be able to choose how that works. It'll also mean that they'll have a lot more choice and control over what that will look like. The scheme also has got 17% of our staff are people with lived experience of disability, so there's enormous opportunity here for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to work in the scheme and also be part of the workforce of the scheme. Now, I just want to finish with one quick little story. Every morning I read the media statements, because you sort of work close to government, you have to read the media. There's the good, every day there's a pile of stories about the NDIS, the good, the bad, the indifferent. Yesterday morning, a little story caught my eye. It was about a young man with a disability in Queensland who has used his package, and with the support of his family and friends and support workers, he's created his own business called Ben the Baker. Baking with Purpose is his business name. And I just thought, what a wonderful thing if people are given the support they need and an opportunity to build a vision for their lives, what people can do. So on that note, I'll hand back over to John. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Look, as Eddie's pointed out, these are really complementary programs. Although there are separate plenary streams planned for IIMHL and IIDL delegates, you are, of course, really most welcome to check out both programs and attend any session that holds a particular interest for you. Now, as we move into our speaker program, it's a really great pleasure for me to introduce to you our facilitator for the combined keynote and for the rest of the IIMHL sessions. Natasha Mitchell will be familiar to many people in Australia because of her work on radio with our national broadcast at the ABC. Natasha has an enduring interest in mental health and was the founding presenter and producer of psychology and culture program All in the Mind, which she hosted from 2002 to 2012, and on ABC Radio National, and more recently, she presented the ABC's flagship daily morning show, Life Matters. Now, I'm an ABC tragic, and I don't think my digital radio or other radio is capable of going onto a station that's not Radio National. I don't even know the others actually exist, really. So I've been listening to it for a very long time. So Natasha's going to tell you how she will be running the program today and tomorrow. Welcome, Natasha.
Yes, I'm on. Can you hear me okay? Yes, wonderful. Thank you, John. Thank you, Eddie. And thank you, Uncle Chika. And thank you for all being here. I actually just want to get a sense of who you all are. I've read all your bios, every single bio in this room. I've Googled you. I know who you are. So I will be coming after you to participate throughout the day. So Scotland, put your hands up. Where are you? Yes, hello. I think you might need to spread around tables a little bit as we proceed, because this is a chance for you all to meet each other. What about Canada? Where are you? Big contingent from Canada. Welcome. What about New Zealand? Hello, Oh, look at you all. Fantastic to have you here. Welcome, welcome. India. I gather there might be one person from India. So you'll need to work the tables very ambitiously. We have the Netherlands. Welcome. Wonderful. Okay, great. We will be separating you if you'd like to. I mean, this is a chance for you. It's a leadership dialogue. We will be opening the conversation out to the tables. So it's a chance to meet other people. So you might want to shuffle around as the discussions get started. England. Hello. Welcome indeed. Great to have you here. Ireland. Yes, excellent. And yes, great. Ghana. We have 2 people from Ghana, I think. Perhaps, can I find you? Not yet. What about the USA? Welcome, USA. We're happy to host you. And of course, Australia. Lots of you here. So actually a fantastic mix of people. How excellent. I'm really thrilled to be your facilitator for 2 days. I have broadcast on mental health issues. Oh, Finland. Sweden, of course. Yes, yes. Have I not named a country group? Yell it out. I've covered Wales, of course. Fantastic, welcome. Thank you. I've broadcast on mental health for many years. I care about this issue more than most for personal reasons and professional reasons. I'm delighted to be gathering here with you today and facilitating the discussion. A few quick housekeeping tips. There is Wi-Fi. It is free. The password is lowercase Black Rainbow. Black Rainbow happens to be this very diligent communicator, Damien Bonson. He's one of the Spark Collective this year. Black Rainbow provides social, cultural and mental health support for young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are LGBTIQ. So welcome. In fact, where are the 30 emerging leaders who are here courtesy of Spark? Could you stand up? Fantastic. Welcome. And as many of you know, Spark supporting the promotion of activated research and knowledge developed and delivered by our colleagues in Canada at the Mental Health Commission of Canada. And the program teaches emerging leaders how to move great ideas, innovative ideas, into practice. So meet the Spark people if you can. If we need to evacuate, there are doors on either side and there are also exits at the rear, but what we'll do is we'll wait for the sirens, and then we'll also have the staff of the Hilton Hotel will direct us to which doors they'd like us to go. There are also psychologists here dedicated to the conference. If you would like to seek their support or their consultation or have a conversation with them, you'll find them in the speakers preparation room. So just so you know that they are available for you. There is a Twitter competition. So if you are a tweeter, don't stop now. The hashtag is #IIMHL Sydney 17 up on the board there, and for both of the conferences, IIDL Sydney 17. If you don't tweet, ask someone next to you to teach you how, and spread the word about the conversations that are happening here. And I gather there's a best tweet prize. I don't know what the criteria, but John will announce that at some point. And just a brief word on the approach we're going to take. So this is not like other conferences where someone presents and then we have someone else that presents, and the conversation all happens at morning tea. The aim of this discussion is for it to be very active and fluid in the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to have speakers. They'll share their insights on a leadership theme that they'd like you to consider at your tables. Then we'll throw it to your tables. There will be a series of questions that they will provoke you with. You can discuss those questions. There'll be 3. Or you might actually bring up some other issues that have emerged from their talk with your colleagues or peers. And so the idea is that we're going to allow 10 to 15 minutes at your tables to really pinpoint some of the leadership opportunities and challenges, your personal experiences as leaders around those questions. And then we're going to bring it back to the room and the speaker, and we're going to actually open the discussion out to the room. There will be roving mics. We'd like you to either present some of the themes that came up at your table, or you might have an individual comment that you'd like to make. You might have a question for the speaker, or indeed, one of you might have a comment on something that someone else has said at another table. So we want to make it a really live, active dialogue, kind of like a big vox pop celebration, where you get to comment and talk to a topic as we go. And if you're noticing that not everyone's participating at your table, please try and encourage a kind of dialogue around the table, ask each other what you think. So that's the approach we're going to take. We'll give it a go. We're open to feedback, and please, you're free to come up to me at any time and make a comment about how things are going or what you'd like done differently. So with that, thank you, John.